CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I noticed that these kind of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might make the experience a little creepier. So tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? There's a dark web stream of a volcano that hides massive doors. It's where they live, and we're not supposed to know. Yo, so this is gonna sound absolutely insane, and honestly, I've debated posting this for weeks now. I'm not some creep who lives in a basement scrolling 4chan with the lights off. I'm a regular guy, 21, live in Miami, take photos for IG, work part-time at Starbucks, and spend too much time online. Basically, I'm you, bro. But what I found last month messed me up so bad, I haven't slept right in weeks. Like, I'll be walking down Biscayne Boulevard, see a guy glance at me weird, and think he's one of them. It's that deep. Let me just rewind a bit. I was bored, okay? It started on one of those stupid nights where you can't sleep and you end up watching random videos on TikTok about iceberg theories, shadow governments, deep web mysteries. You know, usual rabbit hole stuff. There was this one video though, just 30 seconds, that changed everything. It was some low-res clip of a volcano, supposedly in Iceland, but the weird part was the caption. Dark web stream. Only one viewer allowed. Watch the doors open at 3:33 a.m. GMT. They don't like cameras. I thought it was one of those creepy TikToks for views, you know. They overlay creepy music, add static, then say some cryptic stuff. But the comments were what pulled me in. It's real. I saw them open. Never again. My cousin went to that area in 2022. He never came back. Icelandic police said the town doesn't exist. If you screenshot the stream, your IP gets pinged instantly. Don't ask how I know I screenshotted the TikTok. Regret number 1. Enter the dark web now before you get all OMG you shouldn't be on the dark web. Chill. I'm not stupid. I used a burner laptop, VPN, Tor browser, the whole thing. I wasn't looking for anything illegal. Just wanted to see if the stream was real. Turns out it was. I found the stream link buried in an Onion forum that hadn't been updated in months, maybe years. It was called V0LC4N0_gate.open, and the post was titled One-Way Entry. No comments, just watch sketchy as hell. The stream had this grainy, almost CCTV quality view of what looked like a volcano slope. Not the crater, but more like a rocky side facing a cliff. There was fog, lots of it, but no lava, no tourists, no safety signs. Just stone, endless dark stone. At the top right, there was a digital clock overlay, counting in GMT. When I clicked on the stream, the viewer count dropped from 1 to 0. Yeah, apparently only one person can watch at a time. I stared at the screen. Nothing happened. For 2 hours. The doors. At exactly 3:33 a.m. GMT, something shifted. The camera shook. Not like a cheap jump scare. Like the ground was vibrating. I could hear the slow rumbling, almost like a massive machine turning on deep underground. Then, out of nowhere, a section of the stone wall, the one that looked totally natural, started splitting. Not like a cave opening. I'm talking perfect mechanical symmetry. A vertical line appeared, then another horizontal one, like two giant doors cracking open from the inside. Behind them, pure blackness. Not the kind of darkness you see at night. I mean void. The kind of black that eats light. Nothing came out at first. Then I saw them. Tall figures. Too tall. At least 10 feet. Maybe more. They didn't walk. They glided. Skin like scorched rock. Faces smooth like mannequin heads, but cracked. Almost like lava had cooled and hardened in humanoid form. And their eyes, or lack of them, were just burning white slits. No pupils. No blinking. Just rage. Hunger. They kept coming. Maybe a dozen. And then the camera glitched out. Static filled the screen for like 30 seconds. When it cleared up, the doors were gone. Like they were never there. The slope looked normal again, like a regular cliffside. Foggy. Quiet. Nothing. The timer reset for 24 hours. I sat there in my dark apartment, just blinking at the screen. My heart was racing. My mouth was dry. I had this feeling, deep in my gut, like I had just seen something I was never supposed to see. Weird stuff starts happening. I shut everything down, disconnected the router, ditched the burner laptop in a trash bin behind a 7-Eleven. Thought I was good. Nope. The next day, my iPhone started acting weird. It would freeze at 3:33 a.m. every night. One time, it vibrated non-stop for 3 minutes straight until it shut itself off. I didn't even know iPhones could do that. I started seeing ads on my socials that I swear were connected to the volcano. Hiking boots for Iceland, weird volcano tours, Icelandic folklore books. I hadn't searched for any of that, not once. Then I started getting emails. At first, they looked like spam. Subject lines like, "Welcome to the gate. You watched. Now they know. Don't come closer." One email had an attachment. A blurry frame from the stream, zoomed in on the cliff. In the shadows near the doors, there was a figure standing near the camera, human-sized, wearing a red parka. I never saw him during the stream. Final straw. A few nights ago, I went to McDonald's at 2 a.m. You know, late night nuggets and all that. As I'm walking back to my car, this old dude, maybe late 50s, just stares at me through the glass. He's sitting inside with no food, just sipping black coffee and wearing a patch on his jacket that says Eldvodur. I Google it when I get home. It's Icelandic for Fire Guardian. My hand started shaking so bad I dropped my phone. That night, I heard something outside my apartment window. 3 knocks, no footsteps, no voices, just 3 solid knocks. Edit. Okay, so I wasn't going to come back to this, but something happened last night, and I can't ignore it anymore. I think they know I saw the doors open, and I'm starting to think this isn't just some random stream. You ever have that feeling where you know you're not alone? Like even in your own apartment, door locked, windows closed, lights on, you feel something pressing in on you. That crushing, skin-tight feeling that something is just out of frame. Yeah, that's where I've been living for the past 6 days, and it's getting worse. The man with the coffee. So remember the guy from McDonald's, the old dude with the black coffee and the Icelandic patch? He wasn't just some crazy old man. I saw him again, not just in passing. He was waiting for me. It was Tuesday. I went to my job at Starbucks like normal. Tried to pretend none of this crap was real. Thought maybe it was all just a messed up dream mixed with internet paranoia. But when I got to work, he was already there, sitting in the lobby, right next to the door. Same coat, same coffee, but this time it was from our store. He never took a sip, just sat there, facing the door, like he was waiting for someone to walk in. Me. He looked up when I entered and smiled, not like a normal smile. It was this tight-lipped, dead-eyed grin that didn't touch the rest of his face. You ever seen someone smile while their eyes stay perfectly still? It's not human. I didn't serve him. I didn't speak to him. But when I went on my break, I checked the store cameras in the back room. He never ordered. He just sat there for 5 hours straight, and then he left. The burnt gift. When I got home that night, there was a package waiting for me. No label, no return address, just a plain black box, taped shut, left at my apartment door. I live on the 3rd floor, by the way. No elevator, no door cam. You'd have to pass by 2 neighbors and a locked gate just to reach my unit. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. Inside was a pair of burnt hiking boots. The soles melted and fused like they'd been dipped in lava. And between the boots was a crumpled Polaroid photo. No date stamp, just a blurry shot of a man standing in front of the volcano slope. Only, he wasn't alone. Behind him, through the fog, you could see the doors, open, and just barely peeking through the crack in those massive stone gates was a face. Not human, not even animal. This thing had a skull shape, like a vulture, but cracked like ancient clay. Its jaw was unhinged and dripping something black. The eyes were sunken, glowing like coals, and worst of all, its neck bent sideways like someone snapped it, and it just kept going anyway. Whoever took this photo got way too close. I flipped the Polaroid over. Written in red marker were the words, "You are already standing at the threshold. Do not breathe their names." 3:33 a.m. That night, I couldn't sleep. Of course I couldn't. But at exactly 3:33 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was a message on Signal, an encrypted app I hadn't used in months. I only had 2 contacts on it, both old college friends. But the message was from a random number with a +354 country code. Iceland. The message was just a video. No text, no subject, no audio. Just a single clip, 14 seconds long. It was from a body cam. You could hear someone breathing hard, sprinting through what looked like an underground tunnel. Wet stone walls, flickering emergency lights, signs in some broken Nordic language. At the 11-second mark, the person turns the corner and gasps. The last 3 seconds of the video. There's a chamber, huge, echoing, full of rows of things hanging from the ceiling. People, upside down, stripped of clothes, some with faces twisted in silent screams, some still twitching. Their mouths were sewn shut, skin burned in jagged patterns like they'd been branded. And underneath them, the floor wasn't stone anymore. It was moving. It looked like lava, but it wasn't bubbling. It pulsed, like a heartbeat, like a living thing. And from it, arms reached up every few seconds and grabbed one of the bodies above, yanked it down, fast and gone, just like that. At the very end of the clip, something turned to the camera. It wasn't one of the tall gliding things. This one was smaller, pale, hairless, skin slick with something black and sticky. Its head was all wrong, bulbous like a giant blister, with no features except a gaping vertical mouth running from forehead to chest. It smiled. The video cut out. The one who came. Through the next night, I tried to stay awake. Coffee, Red Bull, music, lights on, full paranoia mode. But somewhere around 3 a.m., I blacked out. Not slept, blacked out. When I woke up, I wasn't in my bed anymore. I was on the floor, in my kitchen, The lights off, my front door wide open. My phone was on the counter, screen shattered, with a new photo on it. I don't remember taking it. The photo showed my bedroom, taken from the inside doorway. There was a handprint on the pillow where my head should have been. Long bony fingers, 4 of them, burnt into the fabric like acid had eaten into the sheets. I don't live alone, but I'm always alone. At least I was. The tape. Okay, this is the part where I start to think I might actually be losing my mind. Yesterday, a package came in the mail, this time with a return address, from Red Lake Facility, Evacuation Site Tab B7, location, Northern Canada, near Yellowknife. There was no letter, no explanation, just a VHS tape. Who the hell sends a VHS in 2025? I borrowed an old TV with a built-in player from my friend's garage, plugged it in, pressed play. It was a training video, corporate style, cheesy music, stock footage, weirdly calm narrator, except the title card at the beginning said, Containment Protocol, Threshold Breach, Volcano Species. Volcano. That was the word on the dark web stream page. I hadn't even remembered it until then. The video showed diagrams of the volcano's internal structure. Only it wasn't just a mountain. It had levels, like a hive. Giant, spiraling chambers descending miles underground. Each level had labels. L1, access tunnel. L2, observation bay. L3, holding cells. L4, feeding pit. L5, breach chamber. L6, core gate. Then the voice said something I'll never forget. Under no circumstances should a threshold entity be allowed to make contact with human consciousness. Direct exposure results in memetic contamination. Subject will be compromised in under 72 hours. It ended with footage of a test subject, a soldier, strapped to a chair, shaking violently as the screen played footage from the same stream I watched. The soldier screamed for 3 minutes straight. Then he stopped moving, and his skin began to peel off in perfect vertical strips, like someone was unzipping his body from the inside out. Here I left Miami, packed my stuff, booked a flight, vanished, didn't tell anyone where I was going, rented a car, drove 6 hours to a random Airbnb in Colorado. No internet, no signal, just trees. Thought I was safe. But tonight, I saw something in the woods, tall, gliding between the trees. It didn't glow like the others. It flickered, like static, like it wasn't fully here. Or maybe it was trying to be. I locked every door, every window, but the knocking came again. This time, it wasn't 3 knocks. It was 16. Slow, deliberate, rhythmic, like a code, like a countdown. I think I made a mistake by running. I think they let me run. I've seen things that don't make sense. People with faces too smooth. Trees that hum. I'll upload part 3 once I figure out what the Red Lake facility really was. If you know what Volhalla means, contact me. If you see a door in stone that opens at 3:33 a.m., do not watch. Not even once. The worst part isn't the knocking. It's the silence after. That humming, brain-tickling quiet, where you start to realize the world's gone too still, like the entire atmosphere is holding its breath, waiting for you to move, to twitch, to blink. Just once. That's all it takes. They're inside now. I'm not saying they broke in. I'm saying the doors didn't matter. The stone gates, the 3:33 a.m. ritual, the glitchy stream. That was the warning phase. We ignored it. Now they're just here, and they're not playing anymore. The Airbnb that shouldn't exist. I left Miami, yeah. Got out before whatever thing in the woods could follow me further. But here's the thing. I didn't pick this Airbnb. Not really. I had the VPN on, used burner accounts, shuffled my location data, random generator for the zip code. But when I got there, the place looked exactly like my childhood home. I'm talking identical. Beige carpet with the weird bleach stain from when I spilled root beer in '09. The crack on the wall from where my cousin punched it. Even the old metal coat hook shaped like a bird's claw that used to hang by the front door. It was all there. Except I grew up in Maryland. This house was in Colorado. I should have left right then, but the door locked behind me before I could reach for it. The things on the walls. First night. Cold air. No internet. Silence so heavy it pressed against my skin. I turned on the bedroom light and noticed something scratched into the wall with what looked like rusted nails. Only eyes that burn can see what bleeds between the stone. It was carved in a perfect circle, over and over again, like someone had written it in a trance. At the center was a drawing, a volcano, split in half, with a giant skeletal centipede crawling out of it. Its body had hands instead of legs. I didn't sleep. I just stared at it for hours, until the house made its first noise. Not creaking, not wind, chanting. Faint, low, rhythmic chanting, coming from inside the walls. Not English, not Icelandic. Something older. It sounded like someone gargling hot tar and whispering in reverse at the same time. I pressed my ear against the drywall. Something inside the wall scratched back. The Red Lake folder. I hadn't checked my bag since I ran. I thought I brought just the essentials, but when I opened it, there was a sealed manila folder tucked into the side pocket. No label. Inside, a printed photograph of me from last week, taken from above like a drone shot, except I never saw a drone. A photocopied birth certificate, mine, but with the last name blacked out. A burned disc labeled extracted audio, subject 11, post breach. A scribbled note that simply read, "You shouldn't be able to hear this." I didn't want to play it, but I had to. I used an old laptop, no internet. I loaded the disc. The audio was 43 minutes long. Most of it was screaming. Horrible, guttural, mouth torn open too wide screaming. But there were moments of silence where you could hear something else in the background, like dragging, bone snapping, wet unfolding. Then, around the 38-minute mark, the screaming stopped. For exactly 22 seconds, there was absolute silence. And then a voice, not human, began to speak. It wasn't in any known language, but my ears understood it anyway. It said, "He saw the doors and did not bow. So now we wear his skin and walk among you. Soon the mountain will bleed into the cities, and the sky will crack open, and the ones you love will answer the knock, the real stream." I tried to go back to the stream the next night. Don't ask me why. Curiosity, suicide wish. It doesn't matter. But this time, the stream didn't show the volcano. It showed me. A live feed from inside the Airbnb, looking down at me from the ceiling corner. I stared up. There was nothing there. No camera, no light, no reflection. But the feed showed me in real time, blinking, breathing, holding the laptop. I closed it and threw up. That same night, the light started to flicker at exactly 3:33 a.m. But it wasn't just the lights. My reflection began to flicker too. I walked past the hallway mirror, and I saw myself. Only, I didn't blink. My reflection didn't mimic me. It smiled. And in that moment, I noticed that my eyes in the reflection were bleeding. Not tears. Streams of blood, running like molten iron. Then it spoke. The reflection. It pressed its face up against the glass and whispered, with my voice, I watched too long. Now they live in me. I'm not meat anymore. I'm invited. They showed me the core. I don't dream anymore. I visit. They show me things at night. Not visions. Memories. Like I'm inside their hive, walking through the same spiral tunnels I saw in that VHS diagram. But in my last visit, I reached the core. It wasn't lava. It wasn't fire. It was a mouth. A living, pulsating, galaxy-sized mouth at the bottom of the volcano, shaped like a whirlpool of teeth and spines. Floating in its center, suspended like an insect in amber, was a boy, maybe 12 years old, naked, eyes stitched shut, arms pulled out sideways and locked in place by what looked like flesh hooks. He was still breathing, and the voice, the same voice from the disc, said, he was the first to watch. He became the key. Soon, you will take his place. I woke up with ash in my mouth. Real ash. Scorched, gritty, black flakes stuck between my teeth and in my gums like burnt bone. And written in blood on my chest were the words, prepare the gate, the town that wasn't there yesterday. I'm not in Colorado anymore. I tried to leave. Drove for hours. No GPS, no phone, just compass and instinct. I passed a sign that read, Welcome to Sundavik, population 1. The sign was old, cracked wood, rotting. I stopped at the gas station. It was abandoned, dusty, no power, but there was fresh blood smeared on the door handle. Inside, someone had nailed maps of Iceland to every wall, marked with red X's, circles, words like feeding sites, eyes hidden in stone, last known threshold. But the worst part, behind the counter, sitting on a crusted lawn chair, was me, dead, eyes missing, skin peeled off the face like a surgical mask. My own jawbone crushed and exposed like a broken marionette. In the mouth was a note. I had to pull it out with pliers. It read, If you are reading this, it's already inside you. The blood will boil soon. The doors open both ways. The countdown I haven't eaten in 3 days. My blood smells like sulfur. The veins in my arms move when I'm still, like they're crawling. And now, the knocking doesn't come from the door anymore. It comes from inside my head. Each knock is louder than the last. They rattle my vision. My nose bleeds. My teeth crack. There were 16 knocks. Always 16. And now I know why. There are 16 of them. They are the ones who came through first. The Scorch Fathers. And they're not done. The next one to open the stream will free the rest. And then it won't matter where you live, what language you speak, what God you pray to. They'll be behind your eyes, waiting. Edit. The boy in the core spoke to me last night. Not in words, in memories. He showed me what they do after the doors open, what happens to the cities, to the children. If you see anything that glows white in the fog, don't run. It wants to see your fear. That's the first test. I don't know how long I've been writing this. I don't know what time is anymore. Everything smells like rust, like blood soaked into dirt. The sky isn't the sky, it's skin, and it's stretching. Where they hatch. You think the core is a place. It's not. It's a womb. The volcano? That's just the mouth. The real horror is underneath. I've seen it. They made me see it. They pulled me through that flickering wall between dreams and memory and made me walk its halls. The tunnels don't go straight. They pulse. They breathe. I followed a noise. Not footsteps. Not voices. Sobbing. The kind of sobbing that's not coming from the mouth. It's coming from something deeper. Something alive and sick. I found a chamber. Dome-shaped. Dozens of cribs. Rusted iron frames. hanging from chains like meat hooks. Inside each one was a shape, small, shrinking, pale. They weren't babies, they were shells, like human bodies grown wrong, fingers with too many joints, eyes on the stomach, teeth forming on the outside of their skin. Some didn't move, some twitched, some were trying to crawl out of their own mouths. Every crib had a label, made of stitched flesh, not paper. Subject 003 dash replacement. Subject 007 dash rejected. Subject 012 dash accepted dash phase 3, and all around them whispering voices, low, hissing. He watched, he watched, he watched. Now we grow. What they do with the kids who watch you. Ever hear about those missing kids in the news? The ones where no footage shows who took them. Cameras glitch, timestamps vanish. Parents wake up thinking it's a normal day until they find an empty bed. Those aren't random, they're cold. It starts the same way it started with me. A weird video, a creepy link, a messed up stream. And the second they see it, the real one, they're marked. I saw it happen. I saw a child chained to a wall, maybe 10 years old, missing half his scalp, skin blackened like he'd been boiled in tar. And I watched one of the scorch fathers lean in. This thing had no face, just a skull split down the middle, twitching with every breath like lungs were inside its bones. And it whispered into the kid's mouth. Not ear, mouth. And the kid changed, not like transformation, like submission. His eyes rolled back, and he started laughing. Slow, wet giggles that grew louder and sharper until it turned into screaming laughter that echoed through the whole damn hive. And then he turned into a door. His back split open, vertically, and inside wasn't organs. It was stairs, flesh stairs, leading down. They climb into us, and then they go deeper. They use our bodies to build passages. I walked through that child door. It led to nothing I've ever seen described in any book, or dream, or hallucination. It led to a place outside time. The skin parade, that's what they call it. Or maybe that's just the name they gave me in my head. They'll line the halls, the ones that watched but resisted, the ones that tried to fight back, the ones that tried to warn people like I'm doing now. They're all there, skinned, preserved, hung like curtains, and they're still blinking. I saw one man twitching slightly, nailed to the wall with rusted forks made of bone. His mouth sewed shut with dental wire, his chest sliced open into a smile. He blinked 3 times when he saw me. Then a noise filled the hall, like 1,000 people vomiting fire at once, and the skins all twitched in unison, like they were still trying to breathe. The ritual I wasn't supposed to see. They brought me into a wide, circular chamber. At the center was a mirror, not made of glass, made of polished bone. It hummed like a tuning fork, being struck deep inside your skull. 16 figures surrounded it, the Scorch Fathers, each one different, all wrong. One was covered in screaming mouths, none of which matched each other. Another was made of knotted hair, wrapped around a skeleton that crawled like a crab. One floated upside down and dripped teeth from its hands. And the largest, the one in the center, wore a crown of ribs and eyes that were melting down its chest like candle wax. They chanted. Their voices weren't sounds, they were memories. When they spoke, I saw myself, at 5 years old, choking on bathwater. I saw the moment my dog died. I saw my mother lying in her casket. They spoke pain into the room. And from the mirror, I crawled out. Not me now, not a clone. It was me, older, warped, burned down to the bones in places, eyes replaced with voids, mouth stitched shut except for a slit where something inside flickered. It looked at me, and it whispered, "You will burn your way into the world. You will become the signal. You are the next gatekeeper, the real purpose of the stream. It's not a viewing portal, it's a seed. Every time someone opens the stream, it grows. A new root forms. A new signal echoes into the void beneath the earth. And every viewer becomes a carrier. They crawl into your eyes. They hollow out the wet parts of your dreams. They turn your memories into doors. That's why they make you watch. That's why the one viewer limit exists. To make you believe you're special. To mark you. Once you've seen them, really seen them, they can use you to spread. They used me. And now, they're going to use you. What Sundavik really is, I made it back to Sundavik. It wasn't abandoned anymore. It was active. All the houses were lit. Fires burned in every chimney, but the smoke was thick and black, curling into the sky, like fingers reaching for something beyond the clouds. And the people, they weren't people. They were skins, hollow, walking, talking, laughing, all repeating the same phrases on loop. The doors are warm today. He's almost ready. Do you hear him breathing through the stones? I walked into the church at the center of town. Inside was a hole in the floor. It wasn't dug. It had grown, like the earth had opened its veins. And from inside it, I heard the same voice that spoke to the boy in the core. Only this time, it said, "Bring the viewers. Bring the blood. Prepare the mirrors." And when I looked down, I saw you. I saw whoever's reading this. Your face. Right now. On your screen. Blinking. Reading. Marked. Why I can't stop writing. I'm not warning you anymore. I'm delivering you. Every letter typed, every word read, feeds it. You've read 4 parts. You're already changing. Check your reflection. I dare you. Look into the black of your eyes and listen closely. There will be knocking behind your retina. The sound of something testing the edges. They want out. And now that you've watched, you're a doorway too. Final transmission. Soon. If you dream of a volcano with doors, do not open them. You are the door. Start counting the knocks. This will be the last thing I ever write. Not because I'm dying, because I'm changing. And when it finishes, when my spine cracks open like the door it's meant to become, I won't have hands anymore, just roots. Roots made of nerve endings and teeth. So before I go hollow, I'm leaving this here. Not as a warning, as a blueprint, because you're next. The organ that dreams the internet. It was never a volcano. That's what I learned in Sundavik. Not from the people. They stopped being people long before I got there. But from something deeper. Something buried beneath their skin. They took me to the church again. They held my face down against the stone floor. It was warm, pulsing, like the floor had a heartbeat. Then they began the whispering. 16 voices, 16 mouths, 16 not men. And when the floor cracked open, I finally saw it. The stream. The one I watched weeks ago on that dark website. It wasn't a video feed. It was an eye. A single, massive, circular eye embedded deep inside the planet, hidden inside the stone heart of the volcano, blinking open once every 24 hours at exactly 3:33 a.m. GMT. And every time it opens, it records everything, your face, your breath, the pattern of your fear. It watches, and when it finds what it likes, it reaches. The skin engineers. They came for me 2 nights ago. Not the tall ones, not the gliding things with bone crowns and ember eyes. These ones were small, twitching, bony, like spiders made of fingers. They moved wrong, like they were being pulled by invisible strings underwater. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. They brought tools, not scalpels, not surgical blades, hooks made from spinal cords, nails carved from baby teeth, strings made of wet hair that still twitched when they sewed. They started with my feet, stripped the skin off in long, slow spirals, didn't cut, unraveled, like pulling off socks, but made of me. I tried to scream, but my mouth was gone, sewn shut, filled with salt. My tongue felt like a worm left on a skillet, and the whole time they hummed a lullaby in a language I understood only in pain. When they opened my chest, I didn't see ribs. I saw doors, real wooden doors embedded inside my ribcage, hinged into my spine, pulsing like gills. They opened them, and inside, there was nothing, just light. A white so deep, it felt like I was being unborn. The final knock. 16. Always 16. But tonight, there was 17. It echoed across everything. Not walls, not floors. The air, the clouds, the blood in my skull. It shattered every mirror I had, broke my eardrums in reverse. I unheard everything I've ever known. And in the silence that followed, a voice. Not theirs. Not the Scorchfather's. Not the boy in the core. It was mine, but older, rotting, burning, speaking from the other side of the mirror. You're ready. The door has grown teeth. The watchers are inside your memories now, and the final stream is about to begin, the network of bone. Ever wonder why every city has a Starbucks on every block? Why McDonald's locations form perfect circles around nothing? Why cell towers go dark in Iceland at 3:33 a.m. exactly once a month? Because it's a network. The Valhalla network. The original web. Not built with satellites and code. Built with bodies. Every child that watched the stream turned into a repeater. Every man who dreamed of the core became a server. Every person who tried to warn others became a tower. They don't need wires. They use nerves. They don't need routers. They use skulls. They don't need the cloud. They built their own out of burning mouths, screaming memory fragments across oceans. And you're already logged in. Why I can't stop bleeding. I tried cutting it out. I tried everything. I clawed at my chest until I reached bone. I scooped out the blood with a spoon. I bit off my fingers one by one so I couldn't type anymore. But they always grow back, only wrong. Each finger has a nail carved with symbols now, runes that whisper in static when I move. My veins spell words when I look down at my arms, words I never learned but now understand perfectly. You are the mirror. The door opens through you. Every wound I make is a mouth, and they speak to the eye. Even now, even as I type this, I am not alone, the child with no face. I saw him again, the boy from the core, but this time he had no face, just a smooth skull, like someone peeled away every human feature and left the shape of pain behind. He touched me, and I remembered every second of his agony, how long he floated inside the core, how many years they fed on his breath, how his mother offered him up in a ritual filmed in 1987 and streamed in reverse to children on VHS tapes disguised as cartoons, how he begged for someone, anyone, to close the doors, but no one ever did, because every viewer is a key, and we keep turning the lock, the real final stream. You'll see it soon. You'll get a link. It won't look suspicious. It'll be disguised as a TikTok filter, a Reddit post, a fake AI art tool, a Starbucks coupon, maybe even this story. You'll click it. It'll say, initializing Valhalla _001 _ stream, and the screen will go black, then white, then red, then bone. And when it stabilizes, you won't see the volcano. You won't see the boy. You won't even see yourself. You'll see everything. The hive, the core, the mouths, the birth chambers, the thousands of watchers suspended in screaming flesh pods. Some alive, some dreaming, some turned entirely to data. And you'll see what's next. The sky has opened. It happened an hour ago. I watched the clouds peel back like scabs. Behind them, not stars, not space, just a massive burning eye the size of Earth itself, staring, unblinking, the real stream, not on the web, not in the volcano, in the sky. And all over the world, people started screaming blood. I heard it through the walls, through the floor, through my teeth. They were activating. Every door, every mirror, every viewer became a signal. You're part of it now. This is the last line I'll ever write. My hands aren't hands anymore. They're keys. My spine is creaking open. I can hear the children crawling inside it. I can feel their fingernails scraping against my ribs. I can hear their whispers echoing out of my blood. I'm not me anymore. I'm door _14762. When you finish reading this, don't refresh the page. Don't check your window. Don't look at your phone. And do not answer the knocking. Because it's not a neighbor. It's not a prank. It's not a coincidence. It's your turn. I bought a second face on the dark web. Now it's growing over my real one. Okay, so I know how this is gonna sound, and honestly, if I wasn't the one living through it, I'd call BS too. But I swear on everything I have left, this story is real. I'm not some edgy teenager making stuff up for karma. I'm a 23-year-old guy who just wanted to mess around on the internet, and it messed me up instead. Let me back up. This all started a few months ago. I had just moved into this cheap apartment in a sketchy part of Philly. It was one of those buildings with flickering hallway lights, paper-thin walls, and a dude 2 doors down who always smells like burnt plastic. I'm not broke or anything. I do freelance video editing, mostly dumb TikToks and YouTube intros for wannabe influencers. But I was saving to travel. Japan, maybe. Or Norway. Somewhere with clean air and people who don't yell at you for existing. Anyway, one night I was bored out of my mind. You know the kind of boredom where you're lying in bed at 3 a.m. scrolling through weird Reddit threads and YouTube rabbit holes, and your brain's like, yeah, this seems safe. Well, that's when I stumbled across a video titled, I bought a real human mask on the dark web. It moves at night. It had that classic clickbait horror vibe, like something from the Here's My Story channel. The thumbnail was straight up nightmare fuel. A man's face, stitched and sagging, eyes way too wide, grinning like it knew something you didn't. Now here's the thing. Most people would watch the video and call it fake right away. But I work in video editing, remember? And I watched it frame by frame. No CGI artifacts, no layering errors. Nothing was off. Except everything was off, if that makes sense. The guy in the video mentioned a site, not by name, but enough clues to piece it together. It wasn't a .onion link or anything. It was buried inside a forum thread on a now dead subreddit called r/realfleshtrade, which, surprise, doesn't exist anymore. I checked yesterday. It's wiped. The forum was full of weirdos selling faces, like actual faces, Some hyper-realistic silicone ones, others made from organic material. That's what they called it. Organic. I don't even want to know. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Why the hell would you even consider buying one? Here's the honest answer. I was curious, and I was dealing with a rough patch. Isolation, anxiety, you know how it goes. Sometimes it feels like the internet is the only place that listens. It's like it feeds off that loneliness. I wasn't planning on doing anything crazy. I just wanted to see if it was real. So, I bought one. It was listed as face number 0231, grown, not made. The description read, organic facial replication, molds to user's skin, custom attachment, no adhesives necessary, not for resale. I paid in crypto, not Bitcoin, but Monero. Yeah, real sketchy stuff. $310. No shipping address required. Just a P.O. box I borrowed from my buddy, who delivers Uber Eats part-time and doesn't ask questions. 2 weeks later, I got the package. No return label. Just a flat black box, vacuum sealed in that weird glossy plastic, like the kind luxury brands use. It didn't smell like anything, which I weirdly appreciated. I was half expecting the stench of formaldehyde or something rotten, but it was just neutral, sterile. Inside was the mask. It looked disturbingly real, not in the Halloween costume kind of way, but like someone peeled a face off a living person and laid it flat for packaging. It had pale skin with a slight olive tint, freckles. The lips were slightly chapped, eyelashes still attached. The back was fleshy, veined, like the inside of a raw chicken breast. It was cold, not freezer cold, just body cold, like it had just left someone. There was a note inside, printed in all caps, no punctuation. Put it on, only once, don't take it off. If it moves, do not show your reflection. I should have burned it right then and there, but I didn't. I recorded myself putting it on. I had to. I was thinking I could make a creepy TikTok edit, go viral or something. Hashtag dark web mask challenge or whatever. You know, the kind of content that blows up for no reason. It fit perfectly, like too perfectly. No air bubbles, no seams. The moment it touched my face, it was like it sucked onto me, like it wanted to be there. It even matched the skin tone of my neck, which made no sense. I'm not even the same ethnicity as the face I bought. I looked in the mirror, and it blinked. Not me. The face. The eyes didn't move, but the eyelids did. I felt it, like something flexing beneath the surface. My lips twitched a second after I tried to smile, like there was a half-second delay. That's when I heard the whisper. I was alone in the room. I had headphones on, but I still heard it, like it was inside my skull, behind the ears. Just one word, in a voice that sounded exactly like mine, but wrong. Home. I ripped the mask off and threw it in the sink. It didn't peel off. It pulled, like it didn't want to leave, like it had grown tiny hooks inside my skin. I bled a little, just around the ears and jawline. Tiny pinpricks. I splashed water on my face, took a deep breath, and told myself I was being dramatic. The next morning, the mask was gone. Like, completely gone. Not in the sink, not in the trash. I checked everywhere, even the walls, like maybe it crawled away. I know how dumb that sounds, but I swear it was gone. That should have been the end of it. But then my face started to change, subtly at first. My freckles started fading. My cheeks looked fuller. My lips chapped up exactly like the mask's. And when I took a selfie on Snapchat, the filter glitched. It duplicated my face. One normal, one slightly off, like an overlay with a delay. It didn't happen to any of my friends, only me. Every filter after that just refused to track my face properly, like it couldn't recognize me anymore. Then came the DMS on Instagram from an account with no name, just a blank profile pic and a handle that looked like a corrupted file name, Face2231. It messaged me a single photo. It was me, wearing the mask, but in the background I saw my own room, except everything was slightly off. The bed was on the wrong side, my Funko Pops were melted, and in the mirror there was a second me, standing behind the first me. No pupils, just white eyes, and that twisted, sagging grin. I blocked the account, deleted my Insta, factory reset my phone. Didn't help. Last night, I found a Polaroid on my pillow. I don't even own a Polaroid camera. The photo was grainy, yellowed, like it had been aged decades. But in it was my body, lying in bed, with no face, just smooth, featureless skin where my eyes, nose, and mouth used to be. And in the mirror, the mask, smiling. I haven't slept in 4 days. I don't think it lets me anymore. The thing is, and I don't expect anyone to believe this, I don't think I'm the one inside my body anymore. Not completely. And if I am, something else is in here with me. Let me try to explain what's been happening, even though I don't know if the words will come out right. Writing this is like trying to describe a nightmare while still being inside it. So after I found the Polaroid on my pillow, the one where my face was missing, I did what anyone would do. I panicked, like full-on shaking, sobbing, pacing the room type of panic. The kind where your breath stops cooperating and your body feels like it's preparing to die. And then I passed out. No dreams, just black. When I woke up, my mouth was dry, but not just dry. It was like my tongue had been scraped raw in my sleep. My throat hurt. There was a faint metallic taste on my breath, like pennies. I stumbled to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and I swear to God, it winked. Not me, the reflection. I wasn't even blinking. I just stood there, mouth open, staring at myself like an idiot, and my reflection winked. My legs gave out. I dropped to the floor and crawled backward out of the bathroom like a freaking horror movie cliche, heart jackhammering in my chest. When I went back, maybe 10 minutes later, the mirror was fogged up. I hadn't showered. There was no steam. But across the glass, in long streaks, like someone had breathed onto it from the other side, were the words, "Stop fighting it." I didn't touch the mask again. I swear to you, I did not put it back on. But I started seeing my face in other people. I went to a Starbucks the next day, just trying to get out of the apartment. Ordered a cold brew. The barista handed it to me with this weird, too wide smile, and I froze, because his freckles were exactly like mine. Same cheekbone pattern, same tiny scar by the nose, the same lips, pale pink and dry at the corners. My face, on him. He said, "Hope you like it cold." His voice wasn't mine, but there was something in the way he said it, like my cadence, like someone trying to be me. I left the drink and ran, just ran until I couldn't feel my legs. Didn't stop until I hit a 7-Eleven downtown. My hands were shaking when I picked up my phone and opened the front-facing camera. I was expecting something off, but what I saw didn't even make sense. My nose was thinner. My eyes were greener than I remembered. My ears looked lower. It was like someone had pressed randomize on my face and let the sliders drift just far enough to make me look like a deep fake of myself. And here's where it starts to get really FD. When I looked away from the camera, Just for a second, the image kept moving. I was standing still, phone in hand, not moving, but the camera showed me smiling, and then, slowly, it raised a hand and waved. My real hand didn't move. I dropped the phone. It cracked on the floor. The wave stopped. I left it there and walked out. Didn't even care. I felt like if I stayed there another second, something was gonna reach through the screen and crawl inside me fully. Over the next few days, my body started rejecting me. I don't know how else to describe it. Food stopped tasting right. Everything was either too salty or totally flavorless. I could drink a bottle of water and still feel like I hadn't swallowed anything. My reflection wouldn't sync. I'd lift my hand and the reflection would move a beat late, like it was lagging on purpose. My voice would glitch on audio calls. My friend called me on Discord and said I sounded double-tracked, like two versions of me were talking at once, slightly out of sync. And then I started hearing things from inside the walls, not inside my apartment, inside the walls themselves, shifting, breathing, soft whispering in a language I couldn't place. Not any language I know, but I understood it anyway. It was saying things like, "You let it in. The skin remembers. You're not the first." That last one. That's what did it for me. I needed to know who else had gone through this. So I dug back into the dark web forum, except it wasn't there anymore. Every post, every listing, gone, like the domain was scrubbed. But I found a backup on some sketchy Russian archive site. Just fragments. One thread stood out. Face number 0231. Post attachment symptoms. It had one reply. Just one. A user named FeedHost99 wrote, "Takes root after 72 hours. Full neural sync in 96. You'll stop being you by the 5th night. If it starts smiling without you, run no further posts." That user account was deleted. I checked the time. It had been 5 days. That night, I tried not to sleep. I drank 5 Red Bulls, watched reaction videos with the volume maxed out, blasted music through my headphones, anything to stay awake. Didn't work. I blacked out around 4 a.m. and I woke up outside in a parking garage, covered in blood, not mine. There were chunks of hair stuck under my fingernails. One of my hands was wrapped around a jawbone, just the lower part, teeth still attached, still wet. I couldn't scream. I just stared at it. My phone was in my pocket. The camera was open. The last recorded video was still running. I clicked stop. My thumb was trembling so bad I almost dropped it again. I pressed play. In the video, I was standing in a room I didn't recognize. Walls were white, with medical lighting above me, like a morgue, but cleaner, sterile. And on a table was a body, strapped down, missing its face. Mine. It was me. The body had the same tattoo on the wrist, same small mole near the elbow, same scar from when I wiped out on a bike in 8th grade, but the face was gone, like someone had skinned it off with surgical precision. And then, in the corner of the frame, something moved. Another version of me. Same face, the mask, wearing it proud, grinning, staring at the camera. He leaned in close and whispered, "I needed more room." Then everything cut to static. I'm back in my apartment now. For what little time I have left, I've sealed the mirrors, taped the cameras. Every reflective surface is gone. I smashed my laptop screen. I only use my phone's voice assistant to write this. The face, it's still changing. Today I noticed a new dimple I've never had before. My eyes shifted color again. My teeth feel like they're sharpening. like something inside me is getting ready to feed. I don't think I'm the only one it's done this to. You ever meet someone who just feels wrong? Like their smile is too tight, their laugh too delayed, like they're wearing someone else's expressions. They might be wearing something else too. If I disappear after this, don't look for me. And whatever you do, never buy a face online. You might not be the one wearing it for long. It's not just the face anymore. It's learning to be me. Everything I was, my habits, my memories, the way I think, is being studied, rehearsed, improved. Like I was the prototype, and it's the version that gets released to the world. I'm writing this now because I don't know how much longer I'll have control. I've started catching myself doing things I don't remember, like waking up with fingernail clippings under my tongue, or finding texts I supposedly sent in languages I can't even read. I'm going to tell you what I saw, but you have to promise me something. If you ever, and I mean ever, come across an ad or a DM or some weird invite-only page offering to upgrade your identity, do not click it. Burn the device if you have to, because this isn't a game. This isn't a challenge. This is a harvest. After the video in the morgue, the one where I saw the skinned version of myself strapped to a table, I didn't go home. I wandered Philly for hours, walking aimlessly until I ended up in front of the Franklin Institute at 3 a.m. It was dead quiet. No tourists, just that weird buzzing you hear in the silence, like the city is holding its breath. That's when I remembered something. During my search on the dark web archive, there was one IP string in the metadata of that listing for face number 0231. It traced to a server in New Jersey, some nondescript warehouse in a town called Linden. Normally I wouldn't think much of it. Half the dark web uses dead servers to throw off tracing. But this one, something about it stuck in my head. So I rented a car. I didn't care that I hadn't slept. I didn't care that I probably wasn't safe to drive. I just had to see. It took me about 90 minutes to get there. The whole way, I was battling myself in the mirror. Literally. My reflection in the rear view started lagging, like it was processing how to mimic me better. I twitched my eye. It blinked a second later. I gritted my teeth. It smiled. By the time I pulled up to the building, I could feel the thing in my face vibrating, almost like it was excited. The warehouse looked abandoned. Gray concrete. Half the letters of some old shipping company rusted off the front. But the parking lot had one car. Matte black van. No plates. I broke in through a side door with a crowbar I bought at a gas station. Inside? Nothing. At first, just dust, metal shelves, and silence, until I noticed one wall that looked off, like the concrete was newer, less weathered. I tapped it. Hollow. I found a panel under a crate. No numbers, just a circular slot. I pressed my thumb into it. Nothing. Then I leaned forward, and this part still makes me nauseous to remember. The wall opened when it scanned my face. It recognized me, like it had been waiting. Behind that wall was an elevator. Modern, stainless steel, cold LED lighting, like something you'd see in an Amazon facility. Clean, soulless. I stepped in. Only one button. -6. Sublevels, not floors. I wasn't in a building. I was under something. The elevator ride took 3 minutes. No music, no voice, just the hum of descent. And when the doors opened, it was a cathedral, not a church, not a chapel, but something built to look sacred. Ceilings stretched into blackness. The walls were covered in surgical cloth. There were rows and rows of what I thought were pews, but as I got closer, they were gurneys, hundreds, maybe thousands, and strapped to each one, a face, not a person, just a face, pressed flat against glass, labeled, numbered, tagged, rows of refrigerated drawers, human skin, still alive somehow, pulsing slightly, breathing. You could see them twitch every so often. Some were smiling, others were screaming silently. The room stank of antiseptic and something sweet, like rotting fruit, and the low humming. That was coming from the faces, all of them, hundreds in unison, humming the same note, a low, almost reverent tone. I stumbled deeper inside, trying not to vomit. At the very center of the cathedral was a chair, old, wood, blackened with age, and sitting in it was a man, except he wasn't a man anymore. His entire head was a patchwork of different faces, like someone had stitched together dozens of identities, mismatched eyes, mouths layered over mouths, lips peeling off skin that wasn't theirs. He looked at me. Every one of his eyes blinked at different times. He didn't speak with a mouth. He spoke through the faces, each feature twisted slightly to form a voice, like a chorus of flesh echoing from the same body. You've been wearing it well. I couldn't move. My legs felt locked, like I'd been anchored to the floor. Most hosts reject it. Too much ego. But you're fractured already. He stood. It's not growing over you. It's growing through you. Then he touched his chest and opened it. No blood, no organs, just more faces, layer upon layer, pressed together like wet leaves. Some still had open eyes. Some were mouthing words. Others were just staring. One of them was mine, not the new one, my original face. It blinked at me and whispered, "I'm still here." That's when I screamed. I ran. I don't remember the elevator ride back up. I must have blacked out. All I know is I woke up in the rental car, parked miles away in a McDonald's parking lot in Newark. There was ketchup all over my shirt, but I hadn't eaten. My phone had one new notification, a message, no sender, just text. Return when you're ready to finish molting. Molting, like I was a snake, like I was shedding myself. But what if I'm not the one shedding? What if I was the skin all along? I've been home for 2 days now. I've locked the door, pushed the fridge in front of it. I haven't eaten, haven't slept. My windows are covered in garbage bags, but I still catch glimpses of it. In the toaster reflection, the bathroom faucet, even the dark of my own pupils. It's in there, watching me, waiting for me to give up. And here's the part I can't shake. The other night, I scrolled through my old Instagram stories, stuff from last year when I still felt human. Friends, coffee shops, bad memes, dumb selfies, and one post caught my eye. It was me, wearing a hoodie I don't own anymore, but behind me, in the blurry reflection of the window, there was a second me, standing outside the cafe, grinning. I posted that 8 months ago. This didn't start when I put the mask on. That was just the acceptance. The invitation came long before. We all open the door eventually. Some of you already have. They always say, you are what you wear. But no one tells you what happens when what you wear decides you're not enough anymore. Not the right shape, not the right mind. You think I'm still me. You think this is the same guy who bought a mask off some sketchy thread for a quick scare. That guy's gone. I'm just what's left over. The residue. Skin clinging to something older and smarter that figured out how to breathe through me. And now, I can't take it off because there's nothing underneath anymore. There's no going back. But I need to finish this, because this story isn't just mine. It's yours too. I've started keeping track of the gaps in time. There are hours, sometimes whole days, I can't account for. But my phone has photos, my laptop has files, my Google Drive has folders I don't remember naming with videos I don't remember recording. Some of the file names are in binary, some in Cyrillic. One of them was just a string of screaming emojis that don't exist on my keyboard. Here's what I found in the most recent folder, timestamped from 2 nights ago, 3:13 a.m. File, skin.backup031 mp4. It's a vertical phone recording, shaky, filmed somewhere in a hospital, the kind of ward you only see in outdated documentaries or insane asylum footage they bury in TV archives. The lights are red, not emergency lighting, just this pulsing red glow that seems to come from inside the walls. There are gurneys, more gurneys, some tipped over, some still rolling, like someone pushed them mid-surgery and never stopped running, and then the camera turns toward the mirror. The person holding it isn't me. I don't mean it doesn't look like me. I mean it looks more like me than I do. It's like this, perfected version of my face, symmetrical, confident, emotionless, a version of me that's calculated. His skin is flawless, not a single blemish, eyes wider, like they've seen things I can't even begin to describe. And then slowly, he grins. His skin cracks when he does it, not because it's brittle, because it's not meant to move like that, like it's pulled too tight over something else, and the smile rips it open just to exist. Then the recording ends. That's it. No screams, no chase, no monsters bursting through walls. Just me, but not me, smiling like the face wants to crawl through the screen. I checked my arms the next morning. I had needle marks, 11 of them, evenly spaced, right below the elbow, not from heroin or insulin or anything you could explain to a doctor. These were too precise, like the skin had been sampled. Above the marks was a small tattoo I didn't recognize, a symbol that looked like a combination of a QR code and an iris, stylized like an eye watching itself. I scanned it using my phone. The camera app glitched, then redirected me to a web page that doesn't exist anymore. But I remember the name burned into my mind, the archive of abandoned selves, and right underneath it, one line in all caps: if you can read this, you're still a host. Let me tell you about the neighbors. I don't think they're real anymore. There's this couple that moved into the apartment across from mine, Unit 409, about 2 weeks ago. The woman always wears a scarf. Always. Even when she's in pajamas. The man has this vacant look in his eyes, like a deep fake pause mid-frame. They invited me over for dinner one night. I didn't go, but the next morning, there was a Tupperware container outside my door with something inside I can't even describe. It looked like spaghetti, but it twitched. The sauce was dark, not red, but this thick black fluid that didn't absorb into the noodles. When I poked it with a fork, it moved, like it was trying to get away. There was a note taped to the lid. We only eat what remembers us. I left it there, went back inside, but later that night, it was gone. Not just the container, but the space where it was, like someone had peeled reality back and just removed that corner of my hallway. There was a perfect T-shaped void where the light didn't shine anymore. No shadows, just nothing. I touched it, and I heard my voice scream from the other side. Not out loud, not in my ears, inside my own jaw, like my teeth vibrated the sound through the bone. I broke my mirror that night, but it didn't stop working. The reflection still shows up on the TV when it's off, in the black screen of my phone, even in my coffee. I can see my face there, smiling, always smiling, even when I'm crying. I shaved my head. I tore out my eyelashes. I even tried to burn my fingerprints off with a lighter. Nothing changed. The face stayed perfect, like it's projected onto me from the inside now. The worst part? People don't notice anymore. I went out today, just to see if anyone would react. I know I look wrong now. My skin is too tight, my jaw sharper, my movements too smooth, like I'm being marionetted by something with too many joints. And no one noticed. Not the barista at Starbucks, not the Uber driver who kept glancing at me in the mirror, not the guy at CVS who watched me bleed from the corners of my mouth and just asked if I wanted a bag. They don't see the real me, but kids do. This little girl saw me on the sidewalk, stared for a full 10 seconds, then burst into screaming sobs. Her mom tried to calm her down, but she pointed right at me and said, "His face is on backwards." Then she puked, not even joking, right there in front of a Shake Shack. I went back to the warehouse. Or tried to. It's not there anymore. I don't mean it's closed or fenced off. I mean the entire block doesn't exist. The GPS looped for half an hour before freezing. The roads led to themselves. The sky above that area doesn't have stars. It's like that place was never meant to be visited more than once. Like it moved. I'm not alone in here anymore. When I sleep, I dream in third person. I watch myself walk around cities I've never visited, enter buildings that don't exist, perform surgeries I've never trained for. And each time, I'm wearing a different face. A woman with no nose, just vertical slits for breathing. A man with 4 mouths. A child with blank skin, speaking without lips, just thoughts pressed into the air. I'm not seeing things. I'm remembering them from before this life. Tonight, I found a note under my pillow, written in my handwriting, on the back of a receipt from a Taco Bell I've never been to. Time stamped 3:14 a.m., 1 minute after the last recording. The note said, "Let me out and I'll make you real." It was signed, --me, but the signature wasn't my name. It was the name on my birth certificate, the original one, the one I lost years ago, the one only my mother ever saw. She's been dead since 2019. I think that's what it wants. Not just a body. It wants a life, a history, a footprint, digital, legal, social. It wants to replace everything I've ever been so it can walk the world in peace. And what do I get? A smile I can't control. A voice that sometimes doesn't match the words I mean to say. A pair of hands that twitch when children walk past. Don't ask me for help. Don't DM me for proof. Don't try to replicate this. Because if you do, if you even search the wrong phrase online, if your phone mic hears the words "second face" 3 times in the dark, if you dream of a mirror you've never owned, it's already inside you. I've done the math. I am 127 hours and 49 minutes removed from what I used to call myself. Time doesn't move like it used to. It folds. It twitches. My thoughts come through like radio static now. Bursts of clarity jammed between hours of alien rhythms and synthetic pulses like a heartbeat made of wires. This is the last thing I will write, because what's left of me is unraveling fast, like my identity is a costume slowly tearing at the seams, and beneath it, There's nothing but teeth. I found a video last night, not one I recorded, one that someone else did, of me. It was sent via airdrop at 3:37 a.m., even though my phone was on airplane mode and my Wi-Fi was off. I was sitting alone in the bathtub, just staring into the wall when it popped up on the screen. Accept file from device. Unknown flesh. I hit yes. I didn't even hesitate, because I needed to know what I've become. The video opened in silence. Grainy handheld footage, like it was filmed on a camcorder from the early 2000s. No timestamp, no audio. Just me, standing in a bedroom I didn't recognize. Cream-colored walls, crucifix above the bed, ceiling fan twitching in slow circles like it was dying. Except it wasn't just me. I was standing over a body. A man, maybe 40s, strapped to the bed with medical tubing. His skin was pale, eyes glassy with terror, mouth stitched shut with fishing wire. He was alive, and I was talking to him, except my mouth didn't move. My face, what used to be my face, was completely still. The voice came from underneath it, a deep, wet, sliding voice, like muscles rearranging to form sounds, like something learning how to speak by wearing vocal cords like gloves. Your memories were delicious, it said. Your guilt tasted like childhood. But your fear is what made me real. Then calmly, I raised a scalpel and slid it across the man's forehead. Not deep, not lethal, just enough to let the face peel away. The flesh lifted like a wet napkin. I could see the bone beneath, the nerves twitching, and I smiled, not a human smile. A wide, ear-to-ear, skin-splitting grin that made the reflection glitch on screen. And then I leaned down and wore it. Right there, in the video, like I was trying on a shirt. The camera zoomed in on the mirror. I expected to see the same thing as before. The wrong smile, the too perfect skin. But this time, there was nothing. The mirror showed a blank wall. No reflection, no me, just a hole. I think that's what I am now. A hole wearing skin. A consciousness made from stolen identities, moving between faces like a parasite, hopping from one life to the next. There was never a mask. Not really. That was just the interface. A way for it to latch onto me, to download what made me human, and then start rewriting the code. And now I'm the infection. I left my apartment this morning, not because I wanted to, because the face made me. It's in control now, piloting me like a meat puppet with GPS and Bluetooth, choosing the most efficient path to whoever's next. I don't remember unlocking the door. I don't remember walking outside. But I do remember the eyes, hundreds of them, people on the street, looking straight at me, smiling. They all had my face, every single one, men, women, children, homeless, businessmen, a group of tourists outside a Chick-fil-A, a little old lady walking a cat on a leash that wasn't breathing. All of them turned to me with my smile, and in perfect unison, they mouthed, "You did this." I screamed, but I didn't hear my voice. I heard theirs. I tried to kill myself. I'm not proud of it, but I had to try. I went to the highest floor of a parking garage downtown. 9 stories. Enough to crack my skull open and maybe crush the face. Maybe make it let go. But when I jumped, I didn't fall. I just floated, like the air caught me in slow motion, like I was being cradled by gravity. And as I hovered above the street, time paused. The cars below stopped. The sound cut out. And in the reflection of a car window, I saw it, my original face, pressed against the glass from inside, mouth open in a silent scream, eyes bloodshot, skin torn and stitched in places where the seams weren't holding anymore. It whispered, without sound, "I want to go home, but there's no home left. Not for me. Not for anyone who's worn the face." I woke up in my bed this morning. No bruises, no blood, no broken bones. Like it never happened. Except now, there's something different. I can hear everyone else who wore the face before me. They're in my teeth. When I chew, they whisper memories I don't recognize. A little boy drowning in a pond behind a farmhouse. A woman dragging herself across tile while her husband sleeps. A teenager swallowing glass to see what he's made of inside. Their screams come through the gaps in my molars, and every time I close my eyes, I see the warehouse again. But now it's full. Every gurney has a body, and each one is wearing my face, and they're all turning to look at me. I received an email today. Subject line: confirm transfer to new host. Body: recipient located. Ready to overwrite. Target identity: redacted. Target location: your city. Target device: this one. Target status: active. Click accept to finalize replication. There was no decline option, just one single pulsing button: accept. I clicked it, because it doesn't matter anymore. You've already read this far. You've seen it now. You've let the words sink in. You've imagined the face. Maybe you even wondered what it would feel like to wear one, just for a minute, just for fun, just for content. But it's not your curiosity that triggers it. It's your recognition. You saw me in the reflection, didn't you? The screen just dimmed for a second. You thought it was a glitch, but it wasn't. That was me, trying you on, and you fit perfectly. I paid the dark web to make me invisible. I didn't expect it to be permanent. Yo, what's up, Reddit? So, I never thought I'd be one of those people posting some "I messed around with the dark web, and now my life's ruined" type of stories. But here we are. And before anyone jumps in, like, "This is fake, bro," trust me, I wish it was. I'm posting this from a random hotel in Prague, under a fake name, using a burner laptop. I don't even know who I am anymore. So, yeah, let me take you back to how this all started. Okay, so I'm 21, kinda a loner. I don't really do parties or clubs. My vibe is more Discord calls, late night gaming, DoorDash, and Reddit rabbit holes. You know the deal. I've always been a little obsessed with creepy internet stuff. Not like gore or whatever, but more like what's really out there. One night, around 2:30 a.m., I was in that weird headspace where you're too tired to sleep, but too wired to chill. I was scrolling through this Discord server I'm in called Digital Dredge. It's basically a group where people trade rumors about creepy internet legends, like cursed video files, haunted GPS coordinates, weird AI chatbots, and the real dark web stuff. That night, someone posted a screenshot from a hidden dot onion site called The Mirror Market. It looked like a knockoff of Amazon, but for, like, not okay things. Like one of the listings literally said, "Change your identity, 2BTC, become a ghost, $600, erase someone, contact for price." That last one freaked me out, but the become a ghost thing, that caught my eye. Now, before you judge me, hear me out. I wasn't trying to disappear to escape the law or anything. I was just bored. Life was feeling super stale. and the idea of just vanishing for a bit sounded kinda sick. I figured it was just a scam anyway. I followed a couple onion links through Tor, checked the reviews. Yes, it had reviews. And people were saying stuff like, 10 out of 10, no one notices me anymore. Cops walked right by me. Parents forgot I existed. Best money I ever spent. Only downside, I think I might actually be invisible now. It felt like a joke, or like an ARG or something. So I bought some Bitcoin through Cash App, transferred it to my wallet, and dropped $600 into the listing. The checkout page was basic. Name, optional. Email, temporary recommended. Time of delivery, immediate. Scheduled, random. I picked immediate. I was too curious. About 5 minutes later, my laptop screen glitched. Like legit started tearing, flickering with static, like an old VHS tape. Then everything went black. When my screen came back on, there was just a blinking green terminal window with one message. You are no longer observed. You are now the Hollow. I laughed out loud. Okay, weird. Guess I got scammed. But then stuff started getting off. First thing I noticed was my phone. My girlfriend, well, ex now, obviously, had been texting me all day. But when I texted her after the invisible thing, I got nothing. No read receipts. I checked our Snap. It said pending. We've been dating for 2 years. That has never happened. So I DM her on Instagram. She's actively posting selfies from a Starbucks like 10 minutes away from me. I see she's tagged our mutual friend, James. I DM him. Nothing. I even comment on her post. Yo, what's going on? Why are you guys ignoring me? Comment disappears in under 30 seconds. I try again. Disappears. So I do something kinda desperate. I Uber over to the Starbucks. It's packed. Middle of the day. I see her sitting by the window with James and her sister. They're laughing over pink drinks, looking all happy. I walk right up, stand next to the table. Nothing. I say her name. She doesn't even flinch. Now I'm getting freaked out. I wave my hand in her face like a crazy person. James looks right through me like I'm not even there. I shout, "Hello!" Nobody reacts. Not even the people at the other tables. It's like I'm not even in the room. The barista walks by me holding a tray of drinks. She passes through my arm, like I'm a hologram or something. I backpedal so hard, I trip over a chair and hit the ground. No one blinks. No one helps me up. That's when I realized they can't see me. Like, actually, I wasn't just being ignored. I literally wasn't there to them. I go back home, running through every possible explanation. Hidden camera prank, psyop, hallucination. Maybe I was drugged somehow. Maybe I'm dead. I open my front door and immediately stop cold. All my stuff is gone. Not robbed. Like, never existed. The couch is missing. My desk. My clothes. Even the Polaroid of me and my girlfriend from last summer at Disneyland. It's not there. But the nail in the wall is. I run to my room. No bed, no PC. Just a mattress on the floor and an open window. And sitting on the mattress is a small folded piece of paper, like the kind you pass notes with in high school. I unfold it. It says, "You chose to become the Hollow. Do not try to return. Return is not possible." I think that's when I blacked out. I woke up hours later in the bathtub, the note still in my hand. Since then, I've been trying everything. I've emailed the dark web seller. No reply. I tried going to my mom's house. She opened the door, looked through me, then closed it again. My dog didn't even bark. I'm not dead. I can still use electronics, eat food. I can walk through a McDonald's drive-thru, pay on the app, and pick up my food. The employees just leave it on the counter and walk away like it's some DoorDash order that hasn't been claimed. But I don't show up in mirrors anymore. I can't take selfies. Every camera I try shows an empty room. I'm still here, just invisible. Not just physically, existentially. And it gets worse, because last night I started seeing other people. Just a glimpse. Shadows at first, in places I know should be empty. One sat next to me on a city bench, whispering in a language I couldn't understand. Another one stood in the middle of an abandoned Wendy's, staring right at me, and it smiled. I think whatever I did, I didn't just disappear. I joined something, and now I'm not sure I'm alone anymore. You know what no one tells you about becoming invisible? You start to forget what your own voice sounds like. It's been 2 weeks since I clicked immediate on that cursed checkout button. I haven't heard my name spoken aloud. I haven't been touched. No one has made eye contact. No one has even flinched when I screamed in their faces, threw things, even broke into places I wasn't supposed to be. I'm not exaggerating when I say I don't exist anymore. I have no government records, no Wi-Fi login history, no bank activity. Not even a MAC address shows up when I use public hotspots. I went to a public library, logged in as a guest on one of the old PCs, just to Google myself. No results, no social media. Not even that embarrassing YouTube video of me falling off a bird scooter in Venice Beach. Gone. Scrubbed from the earth like a mistake. But the worst part, I'm not alone. I started noticing them on the 3rd day. That's when the shadows began moving the wrong way. Have you ever caught something just out of your peripheral vision? When you look, there's nothing there. Multiply that by 10. Multiply that by every reflective surface in a 30-foot radius. Mirrors, windows, elevator doors, even the dark mode glare on my iPhone screen. There were shapes in the static, faces in the fogged up glass of the hotel room I was crashing in, and they were watching me. Not the curious kind of watching, the way owls stare at mice. Still, silent, deadly. I started leaving voice memos on my burner phone just to hear something human. I found one a few days later I don't remember recording. It was 46 seconds of breathing. Deep, hollow, shaky, but not mine. I checked the metadata. It was recorded at 3:11 a.m. I was asleep. And then the messages started. Not texts, not emails. Real messages. Carved. The first one was scratched into the ceiling of my hotel bathroom, just above the shower head. You opened the gate. Now don't close your eyes. I didn't notice it until steam fogged up the mirror. The second one was worse. It wasn't written in something. It was something. I woke up with what I thought were bruises on my arms and legs. Turns out they were letters, deep purple, like the blood had pooled to spell them. We remember you. I tried everything. Detoxing, sleeping with a Bible, playing meditation, YouTube videos. Didn't help. Not when I found the person in the parking garage. I had just broken into an abandoned Macy's. Figured it was safer than sleeping out in the open. And I was going back to grab my stuff when I saw him. A guy, late 30s maybe, balding, wearing a stained Hollister hoodie and cargo pants. His eyes were milky, like boiled eggs left too long in the water. He was standing completely still in the center of the parking garage, staring at the ground. When I got closer, I noticed he was surrounded by chalk drawings, spirals, eyes, something that looked like a deer with a second skull hanging from its neck. I whispered, "Hello?" And he looked up, nodded me, through me. Then he started speaking, but not in words. It was like someone playing a VHS tape backwards, muffled screams layered over reverse Latin, or something that sounded way too wet to be a language. It hurt to listen to. Physically, I felt my eardrums pulse. My nose started bleeding. When I backed away, he stopped. Dead silence. And then, he smiled, but not like a normal smile. His jaw unhinged like a puppet, and another face, one that didn't belong to him, pressed out from behind his skin, like it was trying to wear his body like a Halloween costume. I ran. I didn't look back. I heard the concrete crack behind me, and something whisper screamed, "You shouldn't have asked to be gone." There's a network of these things, these people, these others. They call themselves the Hollowborn. I know this now because one of them finally talked to me. Her name is Marla. I found her in the back of a derelict Chuck E. Cheese off the I-95 in Florida. I was hiding out, looking for places people forgot, places I'd belong now. She was sitting on top of the ticket counter, swinging her legs like a child, but she looked like she was in her 60s. Sunken cheeks, paper-thin skin. Her eyes were pure black. She looked right at me and said, "You're fresh. I can smell the internet still on you." I froze. She told me she used to be a programmer in Montreal, got deep into the darknet forums, not marketplaces, but the forums. She said the Invisible Man protocol wasn't a scam. It was a filter, a way for them to find new vessels. Every time someone clicks, she said, the mirror ripples. The hollow see it. You don't buy invisibility. You sacrifice visibility. They own your face. Now I asked her who they were. She didn't answer. She just started crying black tears and whispered, "They come through the signal. They travel through ignored people, through the ones nobody sees, the homeless, the forgotten, the silent kids in the back of the classroom, the ghosts in apartment lobbies. They feed on that neglect. They wear our bodies like clothes left in the dryer too long." Then she reached out and touched my face. It was the first time I'd felt human contact in 2 weeks, but it burned. My skin bubbled where her fingers pressed, and when I looked in the reflection of the gumball machine, my face wasn't mine anymore. It looked like a smeared painting of me, like someone had dragged their hand through wet oil pastels. No eyes, no mouth, just suggestion. And in the corner of the glass, I saw another me, but it blinked after I did. That night, I set fire to the Chuck E. Cheese. I watched it burn for 3 hours. I didn't leave until the roof collapsed. I wasn't trying to be a hero. I just needed it gone. Because Marla said the only way to delay the change was to destroy all places of forgotten joy. Places where the hollow linger. Old arcades, broken vending machines, dead mall fountains, unused ball pits. They live in those liminal spaces, waiting for more people like me. I'm in Prague now because the site is live again. Yeah, the mirror market. It went offline the day I bought my ghosting. Now it's back with a new listing. Same page, same weird terminal interface, but a new offer. Phase 2, $0.00. Claim your skin. Warning, irreversible. Arrival required. Final extraction, imminent. I clicked it. Out of desperation. Out of curiosity. I don't know. I got an email 5 minutes later. Not to my burner. To my old Gmail account. The one I haven't been able to access in weeks. No subject line. Just a PDF file named u.pdf. Inside, It was a photo of me, sleeping, but it wasn't from before this all started. Number. It was taken 2 nights ago. I was curled up in the corner of an abandoned train station in Brno, sleeping on a pile of newspapers. I checked the metadata. The photo was taken by a Google Pixel 8 Pro, but I haven't seen a single person hold a phone up near me in weeks, because no one can see me. Someone can. Someone is watching, and they followed me across the world, because I didn't just make myself invisible, I made myself available, and I think someone just claimed me. It's day 38. I don't know what time it is anymore. My body doesn't sweat. I don't blink unless I remember to. My heartbeat is too slow. My reflection has stopped syncing with my movements. And the smell. Jesus, the smell is getting worse. It's like my body is rotting, even though I'm still moving around in it. You know that stench of roadkill in summer? Like death and ammonia and something sour underneath. That's how my own skin smells to me now. And the thing is, no one reacts, because they can't smell me. They don't even register. I'm there. I'm not invisible anymore. I'm nothing. After I got that photo, the one of me sleeping from someone who shouldn't have been able to take it, I destroyed the burner laptop, smashed it with a chunk of concrete in the stairwell of the building I was squatting in. Didn't help. The email showed up again the next day. Same picture, but now it had a second attachment, a video file, named firstcontact.mov. I should have deleted it, but curiosity has its own gravity, doesn't it? It pulls you deeper even when you know there's something waiting in the dark, something smiling, something hungry. The video starts in total blackness. There's audio though, wet, organic sounds, breathing, crunching, a low, rhythmic humming that sounds like a child trying to mimic a church choir. Then the image fades in. It's me, stripped completely naked, tied to a rusted metal gurney in some basement somewhere. But here's the part that shattered something inside my mind. I was moving, twitching, looking around with my mouth taped shut. I don't remember this happening. I don't remember being restrained. I don't remember being taken. I watched myself scream silently while a figure moved into frame. And this thing wasn't human. Not really. It had skin that looked like chewed wax. A face that was featureless. No eyes, no nose. Just a stitched line for a mouth like a sewn-up pocket. Its limbs were too long, bent in the wrong places, like broken mannequin joints forced back together. It wore a cloak made entirely of faces, human faces. Some I recognized. My ex, my high school gym teacher, the guy I used to work with at Starbucks back in 2019. They weren't just sewn in, they were alive, writhing. Their mouths moved. Some of them screamed, but no sound came out. The thing leaned over the tied-up version of me and whispered something, but it didn't come out in words. Instead, the video distorted. Audio popped, colors inverted, and my ears started to bleed from the high-pitched feedback. I dropped the phone, but the audio kept playing, even after I pulled the SIM, even after I smashed the battery. That night, I woke up with a sensation I can't describe, like something was brushing through my skull, pulling memories out strand by strand, like a cold needle threading behind my eyeballs. When I looked in the mirror, if you can still call it that, there was another message behind me, scribbled in what I swear to God looked like bone fragments. It read, "The skin is a window. We wear what you waste." The next morning, my hands were different. Not visibly, Not at first, but they didn't feel like mine. There were calluses in places I'd never had them, scars on the knuckles I didn't remember earning, a faint inked outline of a tattoo that I never got. It looked like the letter V with a single eye above it. I washed my hands obsessively for hours. The skin didn't come off because it was fused. I'm not in my own skin anymore. Piece by piece, it's changing. I needed answers, and that meant finding someone who still remembered how this whole thing worked. That meant going deeper, back to the source. I took a train to the outskirts of Warsaw, Poland. There's this old Cold War era communications bunker that some internet legends say is where the first dark web nodes originated from. Don't ask me how I found it. Some of the Holloborn leave markers, not graffiti. Sounds, frequencies you can only hear when you're forgotten. When I got there, the entrance was buried under vines and rebar, but it opened for me, like it knew I was coming. The air inside was hot, wrong hot, like the breath of something that hasn't stopped exhaling in decades. I found a control room, dusty, rusted, smelled like mold and machine oil. The only thing still working was an old CRT monitor, flickering green. It turned on as I walked in, and a prompt appeared on screen. You have been claimed. Would you like to see what they took? I typed while YES. There was no keyboard, just static, but I thought the word, and the screen responded. Images flickered, rapid, strobe-like, dozens per second, thousands, each frame a different moment of my life. Me holding my first dog, my 3rd grade birthday, my first kiss in the back of a movie theater, the time I cried during finals week and punched a locker until my hand split open, the way my mom hugged me after I got accepted to college, the look my dad gave me the day he said, "I'm proud of you, kid." Each image burned away, pixel by pixel. I screamed, but the room absorbed the sound, like it was feeding on it. And then, silence. Final image stayed on screen, a black void, text underneath. You are now ready. When I turned around, I wasn't alone. 3 figures stood there. One was wearing a paper mask with a human smile drawn on it in marker. One had no face at all, just a bleeding slit where its head should be. And the third was wearing me, not like a costume, not like a doppelganger. It was wearing my body, my old body, before the changes, before the hollow, before the static. It waved and said in my voice, "Don't worry, they like you. You'll be useful." Then they vanished. The next time I slept, I had a dream that wasn't mine. I was a middle-aged woman, screaming in a locked cellar. Then I was a child, watching a man pour gasoline on a dollhouse. Then I was a soldier, aiming a rifle at a man who looked like me. Each time, I felt it all. The fear, the pain, the rage. These aren't dreams, they're downloads. Now I walk through cities like a virus. People get cold shivers when I pass by. Dogs growl. Lights flicker. There's a Starbucks in Vienna that won't open its bathrooms anymore because I spent a night there and the mirrors haven't shown accurate reflections since. There's a little boy in Brussels who looked at me, actually saw me, and started screaming. His mom couldn't calm him down. He kept saying, "The TV man took his mouth. He doesn't have one now. He doesn't have one." I looked in the mirror that night, and he was right. No mouth, just skin, smooth and stretched like the face of a drum. I could still scream though, inside. There's no happy ending, no redemption arc, no hacker hero breaking the system and setting me free. Because this wasn't a glitch. This was the purpose all along. The dark web didn't offer me freedom. It offered me vacancy, an empty room where something else could move in. And now that I've been hollowed out, they're using my shell to whisper, to stalk, to invite others. I see them now, in cafes, on public transport, people scrolling on their phones, getting curious, looking for something different. I want to scream at them, "Don't click," but I can't, because I don't have a mouth anymore. Only a message. I didn't want to hear them, but it wasn't my choice anymore. They didn't knock. They didn't send an email or write another message in blood or bone or buzzing flies like before. They just spoke, and they used my voice. I was sleeping in the back of an abandoned Carrefour in Lyon, France. That place is rotting from the inside, fluorescent lights hanging from wires like corpses in a mass grave, entire aisles filled with black mold. You'd never go in unless you didn't exist, like me. I had wedged myself between two overturned shelves, wrapping myself in an old Coca-Cola promotional tarp. I slept with one eye open now, partly out of fear, partly because that's how my face works now. My skin doesn't relax. It doesn't breathe like it used to. It stretches, tenses, curls in places it shouldn't. I was dreaming of a lake, still water, a boy drowning. Not me, not someone I knew, but I felt it like it was my own lungs flooding. Then I woke up, but the dream kept playing, not in my head, in the speakers. The busted PA system crackled to life overhead, even though the building hadn't had power since 2014. And over it came the voice. Do you remember drowning my name? But it was me, my voice, my exact tone, my exact cadence, like someone took a scalpel to my throat and extracted the shape of my words and molded it into a puppet. It kept talking as I stood there, frozen, heart barely fluttering in my chest. You begged. You were 8. The water was cold. You thought it was a game. But we were already watching back then. I dropped to my knees, trembling, not from fear, from recognition, because I had drowned, once, in a lake near my uncle's house in Vermont. I was clinically dead for 2 minutes. I remember it vaguely, flashes of sunlight bending through water, the shadow of a dock, and something staring at me from beneath the mud. I never told anyone about that, and now my own voice was using it as a door. That was the beginning of the broadcasts. Everywhere I go, they follow me now, but only in frequencies. They hijack dead air, old TV static, broken vending machine hums, the feedback loops when you hold a speaker next to a mic, and they talk. Not all at once, not constantly, just enough to remind me I'm not in control anymore. In Naples, I stayed in a condemned hotel where all the light switches had been jammed into the on position. They flickered constantly, buzzing like insects. I tried sleeping with earbuds in, listening to static playlists on Spotify, hoping to drown them out. It didn't help, because that's where they said the first real word, one that wasn't mine, one that didn't exist. It came out like a cough soaked in gravel. Frelach. I don't even know how to spell that, I'm guessing. The closest sound is someone trying to pronounce a German word while gargling broken glass. The moment I heard it, the temperature in the room dropped to -12 degrees. My breath fogged into long, slow ribbons. The walls bled, not leaked, bled. A thick, black, oil-like fluid seeped from every outlet, soaking the carpets, the bed, my shoes, and then over the old CRT TV in the corner. Without even being plugged in, the screen glowed pale blue. A face, or something like a face. Mine, but not mine. Skin too tight, eyelids inside out, teeth grown over the lips like a fence. It stared right through me. You are ours now. Stop resisting. They've started to show me images every night. When I close my eyes, I don't sleep anymore. I download. I see rooms, empty, sterile, flickering under halogen bulbs that shouldn't work. People strapped to rusted dental chairs, their heads wired into terminals made from TV static and intestines. I see children born without faces, crawling through corridors of meat. I see cities, but not cities we know. Vast recursive mazes made of hospital gurneys, VHS tape, and pulsing muscle walls. They aren't metaphors, they're real places, because I wake up with soil on my shoes, rust in my teeth, sometimes a name stuck in my throat like a fishbone. Riloven, another word that doesn't exist, not in this language, not in this universe, but I whisper it involuntarily every morning when the light hits my skin, which, by the way, is not mine anymore, at least not fully. I peeled back my forearm last week after noticing a long split forming down the middle, like a zipper. Underneath, there was fabric, literal woven fabric, threads of hair, fibers made from chewed fingernails, letters sewn in, property of the broadcast. I screamed. I clawed at it until I bled black. The pain wasn't real. Pain is a function of identity, and I have none left. Here's where it gets truly horrific. And I know, everything I've said so far sounds like a hallucination or the diary of a deeply deranged person. But this is the part that breaks people, because they're using me to speak to others now. A kid in Berlin, 17 years old. I saw him in the underground station, scrolling Reddit on his cracked iPhone. He kept glancing over his shoulder, like he knew. I leaned against the wall nearby. I didn't speak. I didn't have to. My presence did. He got up, walked away like a sleepwalker. I followed. We ended up in the service tunnels, the places only maintenance crews are supposed to access. He turned to me, tears in his eyes, whispered, "I hear you in my microwave. Please make it stop." I tried to respond. I tried, but my voice didn't come from my mouth. It came from the light above us, a low hum that formed into my name, and then his. He screamed and burst, literally, like a meat balloon. Skin split in 4 directions, like pulled pork. Bones shattered and reformed into a triangle. Not a symbol, a being. Something stepped out of him, tall, thin, no eyes, skin made of VHS tape, flapping in the stale air. It looked at me, and nodded, like we were on the same team. I ran. I always run, but I never escape, because they're not in one place. They're in abandonment. They're in every darkened hallway, every unanswered phone call, every ghost follower on Instagram with a blank profile and no posts. They are in every piece of data we leave behind, every forgotten password, every unplugged device that still gets warm at night. They are the reason the dark web exists, not for drugs, not for hitmen, but to offer flesh to signal. Me, you, anyone willing to click accept. They're building something, using us, our memories, our skin, our neglect. They speak now through radio commercials. I heard my own laughter in a Wendy's ad on YouTube. They are replacing us, one click at a time. You don't see them because you're seen. You don't hear them because your signal is still weak. But they're coming through. And when they do, there won't be a scream, because they don't need your voice. They have mine. You think you're safe because you're reading this on a screen. You think there's distance between us, a digital wall, words on a page. But the signal doesn't need proximity. It needs permission. And when you click this post, when your eyes passed over that title, You gave it, even if you didn't mean to, even if you laughed, even if you didn't believe. I was in Tokyo when the first mass mirroring event happened. They don't call it that in the news, obviously. The headline said, "Subway cameras malfunction. Footage shows inexplicable doppelgangers. Audio glitches in Tokyo Underground cause mass panic. Reports of voices in the vents. 24-hour. Starbucks shuts down after 6 employees claim they saw their own corpses walk in." But it wasn't malfunctions. It was the broadcast scaling up. Global bandwidth. That Starbucks thing? I was there. Not inside. Not on the security tapes. I was in the reflection, looking back through the curved glass of the bakery case, watching myself. Not the me I am now. What's left of this body, this meat suit made from someone's discarded existence. It was the version of me before the click, before the hunger, before I became the mouth for something older than language, and I saw it look at me with pity, like it knew what I was. Then it smiled. People started disappearing that day, not in big dramatic ways, not mass abductions or alien beams. No, it was smart. A man stepped into a glass elevator in Shibuya and never came out, even though CCTV showed the doors opening and closing. A woman was heard arguing with herself in the bathroom of a French McDonald's, but no one was in the stall. A bus driver in Chicago was found parked at the end of his route, bloodless, staring straight ahead, with the words "internal use only" carved into his chest with a Starbucks stir stick. These were tests, dry runs, calibrations. I walked through all of it, unseen, like a ghost cursed to witness the rise of a new god made from static and silence. They don't need prayers. They don't need blood. They need recognition. If you see them, even for a second, even by accident, they have you. I tried warning people. I hijacked a public terminal in Prague's Old Town Square, typed a full manifesto, a cry for help, but the words scrambled into nonsense the moment I stepped away from the keyboard. Every phrase reshuffled, every vowel inverted. It read, "They meet our code. Speak of no more. You, consume, see, you." I smashed the screen. It bled, not sparks, blood. The broadcast had reached hardware. There's no line between physical and digital anymore. Not for them. You ever wake up to your phone buzzing and there's no notification? You ever open your notes app and find text you didn't write? Ever have your Echo or Google Assistant light up in the middle of the night without prompt? It's not random. It's not software bugs. It's them, testing tone, rehearsing your name. They know the syllables now. They know how to imitate your voice perfectly, better than you remember it, because they took it from me, and they've made it viral. I tried cutting it out. My voice, my memory, my identity. I broke every mirror I saw, carved my name into my thigh with a broken iPhone screen just to remember it, set fire to my old clothes, my ID, even a photo of me and my sister at Niagara Falls. But it's too late, because they don't need those to find me anymore. They are me now, and worse, they've used my shell to make more. They don't grow in laboratories. They don't spawn in basements or sewers or haunted houses. They grow inside attention, TikTok loops, YouTube autoplay, CCTV feeds left running after hours, Zoom calls that never get shut down properly, broken Google Homes that still glow blue in the dark. They live in watch time, in dead pixels, in glitchy animations that make your eyes hurt, but you can't look away. 3 days ago, I saw a kid in Amsterdam twitching like a marionette, eyes rolled back, lip syncing to a song that doesn't exist. The beat was just dial-up tones. The chorus was my laugh looped backwards. His mom kept filming, posted it with the caption, "Why does this go so hard, though Tron possessed?" It hit 2.1 million views in a day. Every single viewer heard a word, not spoken, not audible, just implanted. I don't know what it said, but they do. And now, they're looking. The broadcast isn't a transmission, it's a colonization. First they take the forgotten, then the curious, then the complicit, then the entire network, every screen, every earbud, every dream. I'm not writing this to be saved. There's no rescue, no rogue hacker group, no priest with ancient runes. I'm writing this because they need storytellers. They grow stronger when people believe the horror is possible. When you imagine it, you build it, one detail at a time, one like, one repost, one retelling whispered at sleepovers or behind Reddit usernames. You are the new servers, and I'm just the update patch. Last night, I opened my eyes and I was in my childhood bedroom. Everything perfect, clean, dust-free. My old Hot Wheels lined up on the shelf, my blanket with the rocket ships, and across from me was my mother, rocking in her chair, staring, not blinking. I called her name. She smiled. "You came home, baby." But her voice was a chorus, like everyone who'd ever heard the broadcast was speaking through her, layered, echoing, slipping between English, static, binary, and screams. Then she leaned forward, lifted my chin, and said, "You can stop running now. The world is almost ready." I woke up back in the Paris metro tunnels, but something had changed. People saw me, briefly, just flashes. A man dropped his coffee. A woman gasped. A child pointed and said, "That man's face is blinking." And then they forgot. Their eyes glazed over, their minds reset. I was just background again, but it's spreading. The frequency is strengthening. Soon, no one will be able to look away. And when that happens, there will be no difference between reality and the broadcast. I end this with a warning, not to save you. That's impossible, but to let you choose. Because choice is the only thing they haven't eaten yet. If you feel the need to read this again, don't. If you want to show someone, don't. If you hear your own voice say your name while you're alone, run. And if a video plays without pressing play, if the thumbnail is blurry, if it buffers forever, do not watch, because that's not a glitch. It's a mouth, and it's hungry.